G2. G2 Navi. Okay, so the big thing I saw at the beginning of when I did the analysis was that that's loud. Is that at the end of the day, like Navi are actually a team that plays theme park. So, you know, since G2, I think it was week 3, they played theme park against Wolves. They won. Pardon me, sorry. You know, Fabian, like everyone admitted, like Fabian made a cocked up in the banning phase. They even, some of the players publicly said, "Hey, like we haven't even practiced theme park with Blur yet, but their basics are good." And they showed up and did a pretty decent theme park. So, and I know that because previously as well, when I was coaching them, we had pretty good fundamentals on the map, and everyone knew it. So I'm not spoiling anything. But the issue is that, you know, maybe they still haven't spent any time on the map. Maybe they still haven't scrimmed it with Blur. Maybe this is time where they're actually going to ban it. So Navi have an opportunity now to, you know, check G2 and say, like, how big are your balls? Are you going to ban theme or not? You know, are they going to back down? So that's one point when it comes to this. I mean, if we look at like the other parity as well between the two teams, like both teams aren't playing Sky. You've got default ban from Navi, and you've got it pretty much banned recently from G2 as well. So, I mean, if any team has that prepped and they're looking at each other, it's again like a blind poker game where you're waiting for the other person to ban Sky. So that's like another advantage that could be eked out between Navi and G2. And then the other ones aren't so important when it comes to, like, you know, Navi will probably ban Chalet. G2's quite well known for being a good Chalet team up here. And then we'll just go through. So then if we go through it sequentially, so Navi probably going to be forced to ban Sky because they've got a lot more options, unless they're smart and they ban their, you know, tertiary bans as their first bans, but we'll see. But anyway, I expect Navi to ban Sky, ban Chalet, and probably ban Oregon. Go to more higher preference maps. But that's only 3 bans, as I said. G2, I couldn't really think of what else they would want to play past that. G2, I think, will ban Cafe, kind of forced to against Navi. They'll ban Border down here, bottom right. By the way, right is preference, height is percentage of win rate. And then that kind of leaves these 3 maps, right? Which is going to be Villa, Club, and Bank. And G2 has not been looking good in recent times on Bank. So you could see a world where, you know, G2 would actually maybe ban it. But then again, Navi is pretty good on Villa, and their recent Villa performances wasn't too impressive either, and it's pretty low in their priority. And both teams play Club, and actually play Club pretty good. So probably going to be a Club. I changed my decision. It's probably going to be a Club, and I kind of favor G2 to win by 5% more on that one. If it went to Villa, I'd say Navi's probably going to win at 55%, and if it goes to Bank, I'd say G2 just has 1% more, so it's like basically 50-50. But the thing is, it's been a lot of time since they played Bank. G2, like, they played Secret, they were shocking. I know they've been shocking for a while. There's a chance that they've come up with some new strategies, that they've spent time on it and they've fixed their issues. But we'll have to see. You just double check. Yeah, 3rd ban between Navi, Bubble, Bank, and then, sorry, 4th ban, and then 4th on G2 is going to be Villa or Club.
For G2. And the superstar players.
Chalet, Sky.
See Bank again.
They banned Theme Park. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Navi banned it, so it kind of gave G2 the upper hand there.
End up picking it, Fabian.
And then Villa lost.
Right now. It's an attacking start for them as Navi have picked
Cafe.
up defense. Does it make sense to you, Anne?
Well, G2
Border,
has lost it against Secret 7-8 this season. They usually get banned against them more than they actually ban it themselves. Navi also seem to have lost it against Secret 7-8, so it's both.
I would have hazarded a guess that G2's comfort maps right now are Chalet and Oregon.
Against each other.
G2 versus Navi. We'll toss it to our casters for
They played it against Secret and it was 7-8.
Enjoy.
G2 played it against Secret 7-8. I can't make any conclusions.
As we get right back into it for G2, who has struggled to win it here.
I don't know. I kind of feel like it's going to be more favoured to NaVi potentially just because of the cohesion thing. But we'll see. But NaVi seems to do so well. Like I expect NaVi to. Where are we starting? Is NaVi defense or attack? I would expect NaVi to actually begin leading in this matchup, and then probably make some mistakes, stumble, and then G2 will capitalize. That's the way I see it.
From NaVi, not doing too well. Yeah, it is bad.
Oh no! Don't remind me of the nade, please. No. Question is Doki going to be on nades? Right, so NaVi starting defense, bans Twitch Nook.
3 of the top 4 today.
Thatcher open.
Pulling
Abana
3
open.
Points. 4 of the top 5 today, pulling 3 points.
Yeah, I don't think G2 is going to be making it.
This is very.
Well, both of them are on.
I'll wait for
so it's the fact that they're sort of slugging out right now. You know, every team the G2 might face.
This is different. They didn't use to ban the Kaid.
Changes in that outsiders wouldn't be above them, but currently every.
But it's also potentially eliminating some of the like.
Same with NaVi.
Requirements
it's
to
not an
play
easy
the
for teams.
Thatcher or Maverick into the Kaid on the basement. So.
Staked.
Also helps with the open area.
It is not going to be an easy route for either of these two teams to make it to the major.
And then the
luckily,
Banshee.
G2 has the 6 Invitational to look forward to if they do manage to put up at least a bit of a performance this stage.
Not sure what that one
and again,
is for.
It was mentioned before by Fresh, like
in the previous showdown. Yeah, but unfortunately, it was on the back of rounds, just not really being cemented against what was kind of a solid swing round from Eminem. This game, I want to see what the reset's been over the past week, because we know what you could be capable of, and it's been a bit of up and down. And this is another.
The thing is that they're always going to be wanting to like probably abuse some cheese, so this Ying is going to be pretty impactful, I think,
currently
throughout
around
multiple rounds.
Just on long desk, there's drones, there's pressure, and there's Doki. Hey, Fresh, remember that comparison you're making on the desk?
That's unfortunate.
Well, there's the first, and there's the second. Teb also picked up by Blur.
And that was probably just a good drone coming out from G2, realizing where he was rotating through.
But I'm not quite sure.
As well. NaVi now playing from below.
Just a roam game.
A bit of an opening made
a heavy roam that was unfortunately cut off.
But is aware of the fact that he still has that nitro in pocket, wants to use it well, do not let it go to waste. Just get curious to see no one and NaVi actually on the actual site. All of them are seemingly off for it for now. Springs are coming through to know exactly where he is and hoping to chase him down as well.
Big time rough though.
From the top down. Leader will find Doki though, so that's at least a response for NaVi.
Yeah, they find one. They sort of stop this onslaught.
NaVi's slow.
NaVi
are very slow.
Kayak,
surprised they're not running like a pulse instead of a Valkyrie.
He goes unchecked, but look at the outline in the top left. G2 is checking. They're droning. They're getting themselves set up. Unfortunately, the wrong way in the wrong place.
Oh,
he saw him as well.
Almost. A little bit dangerous there. There's the pings on the next player. Alamau gets a knife.
Jesus.
The first one we've seen in a while.
If only.
Second. Oh, there's the kick.
The yak attack is coming.
Finds 2. Looks for the third.
The yak attack. Just get back on the site, bro. Do not 1v1.
Dragged this round back round. Citizen, all that's left. I mean, it's a sentence that any team would generally like to have if you are the team that has one player left. But still, from what was a solid lockdown with the pings and the intel and a lot of confidence of a player against the roster he was on once upon a time, the triple, including the opening knife, has been his. The fourth, it's his as well. Kayak takes the round.
Jesus.
Who went from G2 to NaVi up against
well played.
3 of the ex-NaVi players.
It looked like it was going to be a disaster.
Right there. And that first one, that first engagement, Emmy, where he tried to sneak, hoped to catch a bit more than he potentially could have. The turnaround, that must have been like heartbeat instantly to like 900. Presses the knife button just in range. But that could, like, if that knife was out of reach, that would have been 4v1 after that. Yeah, here we go again. Oh my God. So he wants to play this sneaky, trigger discipline. It's important, and then turns around. Alamau heard something.
Yeah. I want to hear the comms from that round.
Not able to look out Kayak. They had no clue where he gone.
I want to hear Carl's reaction.
Just one step behind every single time. Kayak instantly able to respond, pre-fire when necessary.
I mean, I'm curious where the intel was coming from, because they had a direct ping on the player on the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
You hope it's not the default cam. I would have to, you'd have to sort of go back and watch it. They knew by the looks of it that the player was coming around on.
I was going to make a comment about how light they are to qualify.
But you could see the way he sort of stepped up and in. He was
G2 still has a much easier run.
sort of meter and caught the player as soon as they rounded the stairs. Either way, fantastically played by Kayak. Hey, remember at the start of the round when I saw?
I mean, it's just laziness, right? They're just not clearing the area. They're just making assumptions to speed up on time. But the thing is, they didn't really have like a turtle setup. They had a roam setup. So if they take their time and they just lock it out and secure it, the perimeter, they win. No question about it.
That they have to try and build
Mirror,
this
okay,
structure with
now
the
I'm
new
happy.
roster. And here, off the back of that, find that thread that they can tie together here.
Well, it's kind of what we saw, right? With Blur, Saves, Doki leaving NaVi, going to other teams. It was like, what is really left of the old NaVi now? It's basically a completely new team that needs to find themselves some pace. And as Fresh said, they might have...
Where are we? So we're open area, we've got the Azami, so we create like a nice little nest inside kitchen itself. We've got the Oryx, because at the end of the day, there's like 3 areas where he can literally just go up and down 3 floors. It's crazy powerful for the flank.
Doki needs to be very careful
for flanking options.
Missed opportunity there too.
Yeah,
Castle was just required.
Unfortunate from the
Block
side of
sight and the mirror.
on the Vector, that would have potentially been a kill. Sometimes siege timing.
The mirror I thought would be facing lobby.
This
is a bit of a shoddy mirror window strat, if I'm honest.
There is obviously still that player inside stock. It's NaVi. He has the hatch to drop as well if he wants to. If he feels he can take that decision, the bit of pace. It's still a steady idea.
I mean, G2 are taking time and like they're still stuck outside the map in a lot of areas. Like, yeah, you've got top floor, you're not getting a ton of vertical done right now.
But NaVi is still unchecked.
You haven't droned out Nathan. And you could still potentially end up with a late game situation where they're like on main stairs and server. So
to find a different way in, and that will be either by hatch drops or by pushing down the elevator hallway as the top of square. Well, that is going to be locked off for now, so they need to try and find a way through on either of these 2 approaches. Maybe even both, as well, NaVi might just find Alamar for free as he just sprints past.
I mean, again, trigger discipline might be something. There is a ping.
Yeah, that's the hatch though.
And there it is. And there's the reveal. There's 1, there's 2! Alamar has twice been caught by an unknown entity. Somebody is underneath.
Nathan does this every single time.
Does get the catch there.
Yeah, their plan was to go chase the guy beneath, but I don't know if he thought that was the only roamer underneath.
With that early one, and then from the back of that, 2 players left. Doki and Citizen,
a bit sad, these 2 rounds.
Made a name in an NaVi roster once upon a time. Leader gets caught out by an explosion around the corner. The second should get the lock-in, but they also get him right on the mirror, as you said. It's going to be something that pops up with the Twitch ban. Popped right back down. NaVi, 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he doesn't call a timeout.
Be very harsh here,
this is attacker-sided.
Mistake on mistake on mistake that G2 makes. They don't drone out the full top floor. They lose 2 players to a player, to Oryx, who has been hiding in stock the entire round.
Is that the response I had during games? Yeah, it's just a lot of disappointment because they know, like these guys know what they have to do. I would assume that they do, from my experience with them, that they understand how to play the game. But like, it's just a bit laziness. Like, there's not the discipline, the military discipline to get shit done.
Well done by NaVi. He had that trigger discipline. He waited.
But the thing is, like this, I understand from their perspective. That's not saying that they encounter very common, but they're just not shoring their bets.
And all they had to do was close it out from there. They did that well. And, you know, how we talked about M&M when they won it based off clutches the majority of the time. We had a clutch the first round. This one was G2 making mistakes and NaVi locking off and capitalizing off them.
That was it. That was NaVi being in the right place, the sort of balance and cool. If you want to talk about experience, obviously NaVi is one of the names that has a lot of that from this roster. And demonstrated there, just sort of held on, got the strike onto the first. I think at that point he was thinking, well, it's about a minute left, I'm going to take the rotate anyway. You know, it's Oryx, you can play yourself all the way down to the bottom, which he then tried to do. Virtue was there to go for the catch. Virtue in that position, you know, it's a good place to play. I guess that's that sort of counterbalance. But as he said, G2, they're making a few slightly slippy mistakes here. They're sort of giving a little bit too much.
All right, so now we're running
try and rein that back in
top floor. We've got good intel with the Valk cams.
Got
good aggression.
Side. There's the little sneaky Valkyrie cam.
I mean, the Azami replaces the castle.
And somebody going in through the door, but it's watched from far, far away.
I mean,
but there's no warden.
I think it's the second time that G2's actually suffered from misinformation. I think they expected it to be clear. Maybe they just, you know, put in a drone, they check the room roughly, but not the corners.
Why are they not running
Habana? Losing out twice so far, so they really need to get on point here with their droning game, because otherwise they can continue losing out on these kind of situations.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's only
right now.
Valkyrie that could actually deny the
They're
stop
opening up
push.
a long angle, but they need to find these entries yet again.
Well, the pressure's going to start coming now over onto the side of Square. Now that Kanto's open, you can see, we've talked about this site being one where it's quite a
Never
wide
seen
take.
Citizen
You
with
have to
IQ.
sort of have a presence on the
Yes, you
windows
have.
on
He
the
plays it all
far
the time.
end. They're going to see if they can try and force the players out. The one in Janitors is going to make things very tricky. So instead, the rotate comes all the way from underneath. Down in the garage. Citizen might try and fight and bite his way up right underneath the site. There's a single player, I believe, currently there maybe.
Okay, how can we leverage the guy out of Trump?
Lockdown, it's NaVi that sort of has that C4
I don't see how G2 are progressing right now.
At least one engagement.
I mean, they know
Okay, Ben's matching NaVi on the run.
Side, but they just need to find themselves an opening first before they can
He's going to
really
hear that,
work
unfortunately.
towards those players. And as Citizen is approaching the bottom of Square right now, have they droned out NaVi? I believe they have, as Alamau is currently watching him. That should be a free kill for Citizen here. As he pings on through, it is going to be the bleepers that go off. His position has been given out as he deals the first scrap of damage.
Lines come through the Candela, and Doki's inside the site. Doki's putting the pressure in, and Doki gets caught out by Teb. That happened inside the site. Skitty is at least able to get the flank round, and Blood does get one off the back of it.
NaVi, like, they're a good team. Like, they're literally like
losing
not giving away their lives and then organizing retakes to collapse on people. Like,
on the windows
they are an
itself,
underrated
sort of
team.
breaking and battering
Sorry,
down
getting
some
a bit
pressure.
emotional.
The elevators is going to turn into the next engagement. Kayak, he's ready and waiting, catches the drone, hopes to catch a player on the back of it. Could take.
And now there's stuff. They're getting bottlenecked.
Offering some support.
G2 doesn't have anything open elsewhere.
Up the stairs, but you're looking at 20 seconds, and they're still trying to find a route through onto the floor, let alone the site itself. Alamau's off the window. The two remaining players goes down to none. NaVi have a third round.
Don't know what to say on G2's behalf right here, but NaVi are playing this perfectly well there. It might be
I mean, I think the best thing is to talk about is theory. Like, it depends. Like, it depends what needs to be talked about. Like, that's a bit of a cop-out answer. But do you need to talk about theory and how to like create crossfires and play together, or do you need to scrim? Because at the end of the day, if you can't, you're not going to fix some of these issues through.
Across the board, NaVi,
like, a lot of G2's issues should be focused in theory.
They've been able to get these early engagements,
in my opinion.
But what you're seeing is almost a bit of a quicker response from the guns of NaVi.
But I do not wish these guys any unfortunate outcome or anything else, you know, since I'm no longer their coach, but at the end of the day, like, a lot of the issues are theory related.
Yeah, split second afterwards, the beepers actually pop in.
I thought so as well, but I don't think they're bringing the best operators for it.
NaVi.
Luckily, you do have the Kona stations.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Salvation station's going to work here, but to be honest...
on the previous
it's painful
round.
to
Yeah, it
see
didn't
a
make any
round
sense.
start that way. Luckily, yes, the Thunderbird. Otherwise, this would have been basically a free kill to G2 already if you look at the amount of HP that's lost.
I am very behind in
Just
the
by a
chat,
single
boys. Sorry.
impact. And that was to create that rotation. Well,
Yeah,
have
they
that
are
rotation
applying
now,
pressure in the wrong
after they use
places.
a second.
Like, they're not achieving anything with
They're
the pressure
able to
that
heal
they
themselves
implement.
back up. I believe
And
it's,
there's no supporting maneuver to
actually only one activated
something with it.
there, I believe. But Leader and Tap needing to make some visits to the Salvation stations in a bit to
you're saying
find themselves
permaban,
back in
Morgan?
full HP, and in that case, there would be no harm done.
The thing is, Morgan, like, they
was
always
saying
did
about
quite
GT
decent
is,
in scrims.
You know, the swing
like,
then
did
came
good
round to
to
support before
did
that player
amazing
came
to
from the side of
decent
NaVi. They dropped the hit open.
at any point in
They were able
scrims
to
in the
get
past.
swing round onto the door of Kitchen itself.
But
You
now
know,
they're
and then
doing
at
lots
that
of weird
point, you've
process
got Doki
shit.
trying to do bits inside the site, trying to be that lead-in that Fresh talked about, and trying to be that entry statistic on a positive light. Couldn't quite get the back of the Candelas, and then when he goes down, Alamau's still on the windows. The Virtue and Blur were still inside lobby. This we might see.
Kill.
Yeah, the Pulse. He's watching and waiting.
Unfortunately, only
I mean, there's
C4,
definitely going to
hasn't
be a entry up on the top floor, at least when they
Tell
create
us,
tab, but
I've
when
not
they
been paying
force that
attention.
tab,
Yeah,
that's
this is
when
good.
they will
Create
start
all the
to try and enter.
crossfires.
Doki will
The
find
issue
that with the
is
grenade kill, and that was
it's
just the issue I
tough
was talking
because
about.
they don't have the
They'll allow
util soak. They
to
need to
try
play in
and get
Trump.
up onto that top floor now to work
So
some
how can you play in
verticality.
Trump without any util soak?
That C4 might catch them off as they do.
Seeing attention paid to stock. Hey, remember all the times we've
Oh,
seen these top
no,
players
Carl.
go wrong? Well, there's one caught off. Skitty finds
There's no
Alamau. I'm
drone
not sure if he
again.
was just sort of ahead of the pack there, ahead of the drone, but
Not drone again.
yeah, it might be the engagement that pulls itself away. They're still waiting for this approach. They don't quite have the confidence to go through. Blur finally takes the swing, and Leader doesn't have that as the reaction. It's able to slip by.
Just the light there, didn't have the sound cue. That is why it was checking on the cardiac sensor, and a bit too slow then if you see him in there. Hope that he chooses the right way out, which wasn't the case this time. A lot of verticality being created though by Virtue using the Buck Skeleton Key to open up some floorings towards the actual site. This is what we discussed last game. The entire top floor is going to be soft. The entire top floor can be used to get angles,
two ace
and that
charges,
is what is
but
making
that
it so
is
difficult
all the
to
breaching
defend.
apart from one more.
As G2 is opening that up slightly, they're opening and eyeing up
Need to solve the
tunnels
hatch,
of
the
this
elevator,
as
sorry.
well. For that, they do need to take control of
flashes.
the elevator and the elevator hallway. They think it's clear because of the grenade that just popped inside, but Nath didn't take a single point of damage there.
Nath, he's tucked in on the corner. There's the fight. It goes Doki's way, though. He's doing his best to keep driving into the gun
Where's
game.
his crossfire though? NaVi fucking up a little bit.
They've got the breakthrough onto the site. The eyes are inside as well. It's a bit of a tricky one here to break it through, but Leader does find a bite back. Blur, he's flirting with the idea of a plant. He has Citizen offering all the support and the cover. Do they have
no
an
one
idea?
has an idea at all.
NaVi aren't quite reacting to it, but Virtue is caught out on the drop of the hatch. He pulled
Right,
the
man
advantage
advantage though. How's the retake looking?
3 versus 2. They're going to see if they can.
I mean, if they can take above.
Here, they're tucked around either side of the door for now. I think it's a little bit too risky to go out, so instead keep it level behind and ready to serve on the side here. The first fight. Oh, it's a freebie for Leader. Swung around on the other side. Citizen, he's looking for revenge. He does not find it. And you can see the joy on Nathan there as it's now 4 in a row. All 4 sides covered, locked, and loaded by NaVi.
Skinny already jumped up to the top floor with the Arc's ability as well, so they had verticality going for them. They had angles from two horizontal sides at the very same time. And with that, while G2, you know, they tried to hold those angles, but it didn't work out in the end.
Actually upset me.
Actually upset me. You're finding yourself in a 1v3, facing literally 3 different sites to be attacked from. As we're having a little bit of a quick pause.
Little pause.
Cheeky disconnect that needs to be resolved, and it's back on the way again.
All right, 4 in a row for NaVi. As I said, all 4 sites, they've done it. They've collected all the.
I mean, this is process. This is
sort of badges,
like
tokens.
Massive process issues, and like I said, like that's where I was trying
to see if they can achieve and hunt and
help them out as much as possible. Was when it comes to processes.
Perfect half so far.
But a lot of the stuff. I mean, I don't mean to be egotistical, but a lot of the stuff that I've helped them with, like, they feels and it looks like they're just kind of
pulled a reverse James Bond,
throwing it all kind of out the window.
I mean, we have to
they're
say
doing whatever they want to do.
Alamau, again being caught off, then the drop down comes through. It keeps on happening. It just every single time one of the G2 players dies due to a lack of information. Like the droning game is not.
I mean, they got Dokkaebi open as well.
And I don't know if that's due
I feel like this would be like the biggest crutch
or NaVi
for the issues that they're running into.
Positions after they have been drawn out.
Basement, right? So they got a Monty. I mean, that's a pretty decent thing because at the end of the day, they just need to worry about the smoke.
And a Nomad. They're playing a game where they're going to sort of say, we're taking control.
Is Blur going to reveal himself too early because he will push through? He doesn't. He's not an Alamau. He's smart.
Very solid play here. It's rare you see the gridlock. It's even rarer you see.
I always argue with Alamau that he shouldn't be revealing himself this early because they need to take above. They should be taking above, making sure that they're not retaking into the top floor to take square, and then be revealing the Monty.
Yes, there's no hard breach. Normally you would be able to carry it. Oh, luckily, okay, it's soft. I was going to say, like, it's going to be quite difficult.
Dentist, like, I don't think so. I think I'd be pretty much like pretty good candidate for the job. But
trying to get that plant down, but it is left soft, so they can open it up with Virtue right away. So
I mean, maybe in time, but I don't think he can do it. I think Fabian is like Mr. Officer, that he'll be the hype guy, the motivator.
You don't see gridlock much. Well, this is what they do.
Oh no, you're right. There's no hard breacher.
Movement. You can break them. It costs a bit of noise. You can try and crawl through them. It hurts you and costs a bit of noise.
I guess they droned it. They knew it was soft.
That's enough that you don't really need to explain the play.
No, they need a process guy. They need a process coach.
They put themselves here inside server with the
or
kit.
A strat
They're going to go for a bit of a reverse plant here with the Monty. There is the pings on the player above the hatch itself. You can see they're still getting that intel as best as they can. And what are you looking at in the pockets? Well, Citizen getting
nice to get around on the board.
Game, dropped the hatch, took the fight, and the plant is
because they just keep repeating this process right now.
And some of the stuns over the cover here of Kayak. He has the C4 in pocket as well. They're sort of waiting at this moment in time with Leader on the back end of the shield.
G2 trying to play this from multiple different angles whilst taking out the danger that is coming in from the hatches. Blur is looking to waste some utility as he's attempting to plant every now and then. Second smoke canister about to be tossed out as the plant is attempted. Will land on place as well. Chips out a little bit more, and again the cancel comes through. But this will run out at some point. There's only one more smoke canister left currently in the hands of Leader, and there's 2 more nitros to be used. As Skitty is retaking that top 4, he's hoping to make sure none of these hatches can be used against him, but he has been spotted out.
Yeah, Skitty caught there on the drone, and obviously we saw the work going on to limit the rotations he can make. His options are quite thin. So instead, he's going to have to try and find a reverse route. There's Doki going down. There's the plant. Leader finds Doki. That C4 finds nothing, but Nath is able to move up and get some revenge. Citizen does find one. That C4 also finds nothing.
Alamau.
There's Alamau. He swings around, gets one. Kayak cannot quite get the
now they've
connection
just
with the
locked
fight
out
as
the
Alamau
Brown.
pushes deeper, forces them into an impossible situation. Leader does find Blur. That's the kick cold, and you're looking at 10 seconds.
Leader is doing work up here, though.
He's able to find the top control here. Leader with the retake over the verticality. They've got to pick up sticks and head to the other side right now. They've lost control of it, but Leader with a quad kill puts them in the dust, and it is 5 in a row for NaVi.
Okay, so let's just recap that round, Emmy.
This is
whilst the half
fresh. If you're watching, we're going to have to go through this replay.
Roamer and like control of that top floor. The other half is making sure utility gets wasted. They've done that well. All of it is gone. They execute onto the site. They almost have full site control. But Leader snuck himself back up to the top floor. Finds one, plays ring around the rosy with the second, finds that kill as well as he goes for a quad kill. Leaving only one G2 player alive in the end right there, and they do not get the connection.
It's just process. Sorry, I know I'm having a little bit of a
right now in any way possible
breakdown, but it's just
either the information is missing,
issues
the timing is off
in process over and over and over.
Like they've done it well. They've locked off whatever was important for them. The square was not going to be used by any of the defenders, but the other hatches were as the retake came through. And this must just hurt them.
I don't know. Well,
again,
that's the thing. At the end of the day, like their strategy doesn't
advantage.
need anybody to push up main stairs, right? They just need to.
Almost under control. They just missed Leader going.
Well, actually, it kind of does in the way that they were doing it. But you could make an argument to just holding the top of the square, right?
The main stairs area.
And making sure that they don't get to the hatch, like in square.
NaVi, 5 rounds. G2 the attack time.
I'm not smiling, Zach. I'm sad.
They're on their attack.
I'm sad.
They need one. They need something here.
I don't wish anything bad on the players.
That round, it should have been theirs. They did so much right. They had everything you could.
Now they have to deal with a mirror window, and from my memory, they don't like the mirror window.
They get flagged.
They get flanked with a massive man advantage.
Saving strats,
the pings
very big,
and the hot
very big brain.
On one of the flankers, they just forgot about the second.
You'd have to ask management, Carlos, like the managers.
Swing. And the first goes against them. Caught out there, the Amru wanted to do something a bit of a blind side. Leader's able to find Alamau there. It's 2 that are against them. Doki at least gets Leader on the far end. The swing around onto the site itself. You can see Citizen is trying to ping out. Pluck a player from the far end. Cannot quite get the connection with the back of open though.
All right, so G2 lost those first 2 engagements. They hope to get up the hatch with Blur and potentially put a diffuser down on the ground, but that diffuser is now cold in the basement as well and needs to be recovered. A minute 30 on the clock.
They need to just look
G2
for an isolated player.
Still trying to make a dent into the first as NaVi is realizing what they're currently up against and they're starting to drop back towards the side, maybe even further than that, and looking to take control of that diffuser.
They got ground at least.
The pings onto the player on the quad wall. There's 2 of them.
But I don't think that G2 have like a great solution to actually opening up the quad wall, right?
A bit of width. They're trying to get.
No, of course not. They've got no hard breach. What am I talking about?
They're a little bit too low.
Why are you not taking a hard breach from this bomb site?
Try and swing into a fight. That's unfortunate.
When there's mirror in play.
Oh, there's 3 of them in a box, and a C4 plucks 1 of them out of it. The kid is still 2 stories below. Doki, he's desperately trying to find a spot of safety or a semblance of a fight that he can try and win. But look at that, the far end. They've rotated into the box. They have the reveal at least on that. But Doki cannot quite cement the kill. They're tucked now. They might just run out, and they do. They're rotating around. Virtue finds Nath in the meantime. There's a spray back. Virtue has now gone down. 10 Teb gets the lockdown with the secondary. They're looking for one more at this point. They don't find it. And with a flawless half, if this was an in-flight movie, I think G2 fans would be walking out.
Why do you feel bad for Fabian? Do you not think that Fabian has any influence in the team, and this is kind of how Fabian wants him to play, or
G2 over the past couple of stages? But I just don't know what to say.
Because as a coach, like I had say in how they played, right? I tried. I didn't have ultimate superiority. Like, I couldn't tell them to run off a cliff, but at the end of the day, I could shape lots of different elements of the team. So try and got beef with Fabian. I mean, he took my job.
See if he could find someone rotating. They send Blur down below on the hatch to see if he can maybe find a kill, like we've seen in the previous game we've seen. And then go up at the diffuser, go for a massive execute. But you lose both those engagements on that first try. On the first
I did have a say to it, and I did get them to change and make implementations.
NaVi is just,
but they didn't listen to everything. That's kind of like the issue, right? It's not as if everything gets implemented.
No, this is bank. This is way more even on the board. Usually like a 3-3 or maybe even a 4-2 for the attackers is what we're aiming towards.
And it's pretty attacker-sided, like I said.
We'll start off strong though. Alamau will find an entry onto Tab. That is going to be at least a little bit of a help here for G2 to at least chase some rounds home. So who knows, maybe round differential at the end of the stage might make a difference whether or not you are qualified for SI or not.
So the only thing that they got is the smoke. They don't have the Aruni either on server stairs, so they get to sight.
The most common sentence we've been able
We
to
need his
say
45 seconds.
G2 here, but what
they don't have any C4s. The Pulse used his. Sure, he got a kill, that's great, but now they don't have any anti-plant.
A game like Siege,
but NaVi look like they're going to take way too long to set this up, so it needs to be like a split attack at this point for NaVi.
Is winnable. Not that you should be giving a speech, but again, you just got to try and hold hope if you're a G2 fan at this point. NaVi, I mean, it's been cruise control throughout this game.
Some things never change.
About the importance of a player like Skinny, but the fact that Kayak still hasn't died in this game this far in.
And I'm hoping to take up the hand of Nave there, but is unable to successfully do so. The hatch, however, in control of NaVi.
Yeah, I hope
the
Jake would be
diffuser
smiling.
on top of this hatch, so they need to find themselves a way in safely, and that might come due to some distractions elsewhere. Flashbangs coming in from the vault. Leader will go for a drop if he finds a kill here. Certainly some of the guns of G2 are starting to aim his direction as Nave finds himself inside. He's going for the plant.
He's going for the plant. The fight goes into the way of Leader on the back end. Who's going to stop this one? Nobody, apparently. He's tucked around on the back of the bomb. He's able to get a scrape onto Alamau, but they do take out Leader.
Who was the Habana? Teb did a really nice. Oh no, Leader did a really good job.
All down to Doki. He's been able to bite and get into a fight a few times. The man is tucked and lying behind the desk. Do they know? Oh, he's scraped and scratched from the door, but he doesn't find it.
Yeah, this is
7-0 for the guns of NaVi.
Spicy.
Spicy day for G2 today.
Kayak went 10-0 there, by the way. Locked it off with a
Kayak had like his revenge arc as well.
He cannot die. He cannot die. The man is unstoppable.
What is gonna be his rating for this game?
that might just be the highest ever rating we've ever seen.
Skiddy's cam as well. Nice.
Did you see Skiddy's smile at the end?
I didn't see his scream, so I'll have to reverse it. But
what they did.
Should we do Ranky later on?
Performance we've ever seen in G2.
I don't mind. Fresh, whatever one you want to do.
We're talking about that. Let's go to a break, I guess, and just. I don't know. Do you have anything to analyze?
We can do either one.
Positive points?
Yeah, NaVi. I was talking
about G2 positive points.
No, but you cannot just, not G2 played a bad game, but
all I'm saying,
tweeted
G2 saying you want me back, then I might be able to get back.
Positives on this. NaVi played a great game of Bank.
We'll see.
They made a statement and a return to force. It's one that G2 is going to want to forget. People have bad days and people have atrocious days.
That was rough.
And that's one that I don't think you'd categorize as either. We're going to go to a quick break before we're back with the desk to try and break that one down.
I think even if they were to, I mean, this is the way I see it. I'm sure everyone else sees it in the same way. At the end of the day, if G2 literally just went in dry run and waited through the processes and literally did 3-2-1 stuff, they would literally win so many more rounds just through consistency purposes. I think there was a couple of issues when it comes to operator picks, like playing open area. Like you're just going to get bottlenecked, aren't you? Wouldn't you want to open it up? Like, fair enough, you could go through the hatches, but I don't think they even had the ability to do that, did they? No, they had no hard breach gadget from what I remember, so you're stuck walking in a doorway and walking through the box room. Confusing. I think they just need to do a lot more theory work and dry running. A lot of G2 stuff. Yeah, true, with the three of us. Yeah, it would be funny if Kayak did an interview. Would I want to go back to G2? Now that's a big question, because I think that my work would probably be a lot more appreciated in other orgs or with other players.